We are live. Otter Outdoors gear is being released as we are talking. I shouldn't say released, it's being leaked. My understanding is it's not actually officially going to be released until later in October. Not sure when you're watching this if you're on the live. Welcome to the show. We are going to go through a few new pieces of gear, one of which you're seeing on the screen right now, that are being leaked by some retailers. There's several different retailers that are doing this right now. We're going to be on one of the websites, but there's multiple others that have some information out there, but it's primarily just like price points, short descriptions, and titles of the products, which if you want to see some more of the stuff that we are thinking about, that we believe is true going to be there, but maybe without pictures, check out the FGTN show from a couple days ago on the channel, on the Alex Tim YouTube channel. But without further ado, we've got pictures of some of this stuff. So what you see on the screen here is the brand new from Otter Sonar Sled. That's right. We're seeing a price point of $199.99 in stock actually right now at Frank's Great Outdoors, but it is a in-store exclusive, which means you cannot purchase this online. My guess is just due to shipping, is my understanding of it. So let's take a look at it here and let's talk through what's included. So first, we'll scroll down here. There's nothing in the more information, obviously no reviews right now, but what they're saying about the product is with the trend forward-facing sonar and bigger screens, the Otter Sonar Sled gets your sonar unit and the rest of your gear from hole to hole with ease. Think of a glide light sled with a forward-facing sonar pocket in it, geared up for you to use moving forward. And like the glide light has always been one of those jet sled type styles of sleds that once it went away, everybody's trying to get their hands on it. Good on Otter for designing something like this. I'm definitely picking one up. Designed to transport larger sonar units and shuttles. We'll get to the pictures in a second. Designated cavity for adjustable ice pole with mounted transducer, front storage area with magnetic closure lid, and compartments for a bucket, tackle boxes, rod holders, cup holder, bait pucks, and tools. Ultra strong roto molded construction. I hope you guys are as excited, guys and gals are as excited as I am about this. This is pretty stoked, pretty awesome. I will, of course, as always, drop links down below as soon as the stream is over. So that way, if you're watching on the replay, you will be able to click to right now where they're available. And I will try to keep those updated with the places that have the best prices on them and availability. So even throughout the season, always click the links down below in the description. And they will get you there. My goal is always to help you guys out. I have no affiliation with any of these companies, so I don't really care where you get it from. So this is what it looks like. We've got the blue, nice front cover on it. That's the magnetic lid that we were talking about there. And it looks like on the front, we've got hitch pockets. So this to me looks like, which makes sense, you throw your pins in there, the Otter tubs, you've got your tow bar that you can use for it. It looks like it's set up for you to be able to use a tow bar, or I know some brands, I don't remember if Otter does, is you can actually put like a harness on you and then be able to pull it. So like if you're actually walking, because I imagine most people are probably going to be walking on the ice with something like this hole to hole, you could actually put a harness on as well. As we're looking at the side here, we see some quarter 20, what looks like attachment points here. My guess is that's for their quick attach system that Otter has, where they've got accessories and things you can put on there, rod holders, cup holders, sonar tape, not sonar tables, their little table that they have. They've got a bunch of different accessories they came out with primarily last year. They've got one here on the right-hand side, and then back on the top, they have it on the right-hand side as well. And then on the left-hand side, they have the same two spots there. Other things that we can see here is we've got a place for what looks like a 5 or 6 gallon bucket right in the top. And of course, if you don't want to do that, it looks like it's a pretty open cavity inside of there. We'll look at some of the other pictures here, but you could probably just shove stuff in there kind of underneath, right? So like if you have extra pair of gloves or socks or something that you want to bring with it, you don't think you'll use, tuck them in underneath, and you can still put your 5 gallon bucket in because you should be able to tuck underneath there. We've got a cup holder, some other spots here, but let's look at one of the other pictures for a little bit of a different angle. On the top of the blue cover here, and let me know if you're joining live or on the replay squad. Like, are you excited about this? Or do you think you're going to pick it up? Who do you think it's for? I want to know what your thoughts are. I'm really excited about this. I think a lot of people have been asking for a product like this for a while. I homemade a version like this, and it's nowhere near as good as this, so that's why I'm picking this up. So we've got looks like it's not like a bump board, but more of like a measuring tape style thing put in here. This obviously I do not think would work for online tournaments, but for just a quick measurement of your fish, of course, this will work. You've got a 0 mark all the way up to 22 inches. So that's what we got there on the blue cover. Further back here, it looks like we've got a bait puck pocket here. So you know those little circle bait pucks? It looks like you can slide those in there kind of on their side and they'll stand up. Looks like maybe 1 or 2, depending on if you get the small one or the tall one or the shorter one. Potentially, maybe where you can throw like pliers or a toothpick or something like that. A nice pocket there. And then you've got a cup holder on this side and then a bigger opening, which I would imagine is for like a tackle box or 2 you could put there. And then your nice big opening here, which would work great for your sonar unit. So if you got a big forward-facing sonar unit, anything like that, a shuttle, and that could be a Vexilar, a Markham, it could be your Humminbird, Lowrance, Garmin, or whatever you're using. You could just throw that shuttle right there. And then it looks like another nice big size pocket here. And we'll get to the top in maybe some of these other photos. The lid obviously does open up and we can see there's a nice little cavity in here to store some stuff. I think the next one, yeah, it just shows that it's all the way open and it has kind of the ribbing, the roto-molded ribbing on the inside. And you can see the magnets on the top of the lid in the corners. And then in the front, you can see where the magnetic attach, I guess the metal for the magnets are, where it's actually going to magnet close, which I really like that they did magnets instead of straps. It's easier just to open up and down. I hope they're strong enough magnets where they're going to stay closed, even if you're going over some bumps in case you do tow it behind an ATV or something like that, snowmobile. Put it in the back of your truck. It's not flopping open, but yet easy enough where you're not having to strap and unstrap, which is pretty cool. Another view there. Here's another top-down view that's pretty good. So we can see these pockets a little bit better here. We've got 4 rod holders, it looks like, built into it, which is pretty awesome. And it looks like maybe right here, this pocket is probably built for if you have forward-facing sonar, like I've got a few different versions, but say you have live scope or you have something like that, you can put your shuttle here and then you normally have your ice pole, right? And on your ice pole at the very bottom is the transducer, and it's big and rectangular, and you've got a knob on the side which allows you to tighten and loosen it. It looks like this pocket right here is set up so that way you can slide the pole in there. So when you're going from hole to hole, you're not just throwing your pole on the sled or need to clip it in the top of the shuttle if you have one that has that kind of built into the handle. You can actually take your pole with the transducer and slide it right in there so it's standing straight up and not taking up a ton of space. Genius idea, Otter. You did a really nice job with this, if it fits. I can't tell how big it is. I don't know if that's only going to fit some of them. Will it fit if you have a case on it? You know, the hard protective cases. Can you use the neoprene cases on it, protectors? I am not sure, but this looks pretty cool. And then a few other pockets in there, it looks like. I love the attachment points. And of course, you can drill holes in here. You could screw other things, bolt other things on, modify this puppy up however you want. Maybe throw some lights in here or something like that. I mean, the options are limitless. This is like another one of those pieces of gear that people love, like, you know, modifying up, like they modify their flip overs and hub shelters to be the best for them. I can see a ton of people doing this. I'm so excited about this. I'm gonna get my hands on one as soon as I can. I'm not by a Frank's Great Outdoors, so I gotta wait until a retailer around me has them. I'm not waiting for an ice show to pick this up. I bet this thing's gonna be hot. I have no clue how many they have. Knowing Otter, I would assume they can make these themselves here in the USA, and so I would think that they could probably pump quite a few of these out. And then we've just got a few more of the same types of photos here. Drop down. Let me know if you want me to pull up or look at anything in particular, if you want me to talk about anything. But I think it's pretty straightforward what we're looking at here. Tons of excitement. Go check it out. I'll have the links down below. But in order not to burn too much of our time here today, we're going to flip over to the next thing that we've got, which is the Otter XTR resort sleepover X-over and the lodge, cabin, and cottage that are not the sleepover, but they are the X-over package, the XTR. So a couple things to start with. We're going to talk about the resort first because it's like the biggest and most different one. What we're going to see on it, let's see what the description says. Otter XTR X-over shelters feature an industry first reclining bench seat that provides added versatility to already best in class comfort. Each side of the split bench can recline independently, creating more space for a workstation and quicker access to your gear. Better yet, recline both seats to form a flat bench for midday lull naps. Those sound delightful. Or overnight ice camping excursions. Front and side access doors includes easy frame release lever kit. Those are the in order, you know how in a flip over you've got the little pins you got to push to extend the poles. They've got bigger tabs on them to make them really easy. That's what that is. And then patented quick switch frame, which is going to allow you, it's an X over, which is going to allow you to have your crossbar pole. You can either have it so that it's easy to flip up and down, where this front pole goes back to the base so it flips. Or if you want to use the side door so you don't have a bar there, it allows you to unpin it here and put it straight down to this bottom pole. So that's what that last call out is of the patented quick switch frame. Okay, so now let's click on it and let's look through the photos. First thing we're seeing on the outside, a little bit of an updated look and feel to it. I like the look of it. It's not too crazy, but it looks slick and it looks fresh. So nice job on that. We can see we've got a nice side door here, a front door, and another side door is going to be on the other side. We can also see we've got a vent here right above where the tub sits. So it looks like you'll probably have that on either side. We've got a blue, this, I was going to say that's a blue reflector, but I think that's actually a piece of Velcro, would be my guess. And I don't know where it goes. Maybe it goes here. I'm not sure how that works, but you do have a reflector there. You've got a reflector in the front. So it is made legally, at least in the state of Minnesota that I know about, to be able to keep this on the ice overnight. Here's the other side of it. Again, no surprises there. All right, now let's take a look at the inside. So we've got the nice bottom skirt, nothing fancy here. We can see kind of that low profile of the seats, and you're like, that's interesting. Well, let's zoom in. So so this is a bench seat, which means you're not going to have the super high back as you would in a chair. The next model that we talk about after this one does have the bucket seat chairs in them, swivel chairs, which are really nice. They look like they're just upgraded from what they have now in terms of color pattern. I don't think they're actually changed. But for this bench seat, hopefully they upgraded the padding in it, because I know a lot of people complain about them not being super comfortable. I've honestly never owned one of the bench seat ones myself. I've only ever had the pro versions that have the bucket seats, but I'm thinking about picking up this specific model this year, and I'll show you why in a second. So bench seat, we can see it's 3 different sections here. So you've got a left section, you've got a right section, and you've got a small middle section. What I like about this is you can have the whole bench up, or you can put half of the bench down, and I can't tell if those are like attachment points up here or what these are. I'm not sure what these are on the back. If you guys know, drop it down in the comments, and of course I'll try to figure it out later today as well. But what are these brackets in the back? Are they maybe just so that when it lays down, can you put something in it? Is there a slide-in attachment to put some accessories on it? Not 100% sure. And then in the middle one, we can see there's a cup holder in the middle. I know it's probably a little bit dark on the screen for you to see here, but we've got 2 cup holders here. It looks like some small little container pockets, then maybe a spot for 2 like uh, pliers or the toothpick style removers for the hooks out of a fish's mouth. And then you can sit up in one spot, which is pretty cool. So I like that. The other way that it can be done is you can do both of them up and then have the cup holder down in the middle. Of course, you can have all of them sitting there, or you can have it flat. Why would you want it flat? Well, maybe you just want that big, large, flat open spot, or maybe you want your seat up and then these 2 down is a nice big work surface. The possibilities are endless, which I really like about it. But here's where it gets exciting. You ready for it? Boom. Look at this. So this is the only model from my understanding that has this feature. This is the resort size, so the largest one, and it has sleeper in the name of it. And this is why. Yes, you can, and I'm sure a lot of people will sleep on it this way. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. However, look at this. It's got like built-in cot into it. I don't know. It almost looks like these clip on, right? So it looks like this clips onto the front part of it here, and then you've got basically a cot that extends out and can go there. And then this looks like, I bet you I answered my question. These bars right here, I bet are because this head part and this bottom part, I bet don't like fold up as a part of the bench. I bet you those are extra accessories that you'd like have outside in a tub or a tote or in the tub of your flip over underneath it during the day. But then this headpiece probably slides in to this bracket so that way it's supported. So I bet you that's what those are for. I think we already answered that. But hey, you can use those for however you want to attach other accessories even when it's down, right? So if you wanted to add a higher level table, if you wanted to add some other things to it, maybe a heater mount, something like that. I think there's a lot of ways to actually leverage that to your advantage. Maybe another way for Otter to include some new accessories that can actually just slip in there, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got a nice head area. Your body kind of lays here. Obviously, you all know how to cot works, obviously. And then you've got that. So you can actually have two people sleep in this and do overnight ice camping trips. Now, based off of the looks of it, this isn't going to go, these aren't going to go all the way to the end of where when it's open, the canvas flips down. I don't know for sure because I don't have any of the dimensions on this yet. When I get them, of course, we will share. But it looks like you could probably still have a hole in front of these and maybe like a live imaging system in front of it and still be able to fish at night. You could, of course, put something underneath it, in between them. On the sides, I think would be a little bit tight just by how close you are to the side of it and knowing like wind kind of shifts that a little bit on the sides. But this is super exciting. This year, I am going to be doing, I already had planned a month ago that I was going to be doing some ice camping trips in flip over this year and in hub shelters. This is looking highly attractive for a flip over for ice camping. So I'm not going to belabor the point on this one because we have a few more things to look at here. And I know a lot of people are excited about this stuff and want to go check it out for themselves. So go check this out. Let me know your thoughts. Would you go with something like this or would you just lay on the bench like this? To me, I think both are a great option. But for me, I like the idea of being able to potentially leave this side down or even have access to the bench, to the sled underneath while sleeping on one here. So I like the versatility of it. I don't love if I have to hold all of these as extra parts with. So that's where I may go this way if I don't want to bring like the bottom and the top of a sleeper with. But if you're looking to have two people sleep out on the ice, this thing's game changing because you wouldn't want to sleep two dudes like this, but you could definitely do it this way. If you really wanted to go out and do it, I think this is a pretty cool option. So that's the resort. And so that's why what you're going to see again in the name is this is the Otter XTR Resort Sleepover, X over package. So that's what that one is. That is supposedly $1599.99, currently in stock at Frank's Great Outdoors. It does not say in store only. So it looks like we could probably, well, it says in stock, but that version is out of stock. They do have the lodge in the cabin. It looks like in stock, not the cottage. So now if we click to like the lodge cabin and cottage from my understanding are similar. They're not the sleepover. You notice how that's removed from the name and any of these don't have the name of sleepover included. They are the XTR, which from my understanding is it's the XT version. Reclining bench is what I believe the R stands for. So let's take a look at the lodge. And again, the cottage and the cabin are the same. So outside looks about the same. Inside, what you've got here is the two-way split bench seat. So this no longer has that middle section there, but you've got where both of them are separate. So that way you can recline them back, as we can see here, or you could have one up and one back. So that is the reclining bench seat XTR version. And just to show you, I'm not lying to you, in the cabin version, we've got, oh, they're not even going to show it. Maybe the cottage. Will they show it in the cottage? They don't even show it in the cottage because they are the same. The lodge, cabin, and cottage, from my understanding, are the same. So there's that. So you can see price points here: $1,599, $1,600 for the resort, $1,200 for the lodge, $1,100 for the cabin, and the cottage is $950. We do not know what denier fabric, level of insulation. We don't know any of that yet, but that I hope we will find out very, very soon, and I'm sure we will. Okay, moving over to the next product is, and we'll hit questions at the end, so keep them coming in. We'll hit them here at the end. The Otter Pro XS Resort X Over package is what we're talking about next here. So let's take a look again at the resort. I do believe all of these are the same. And there's more than what we're talking about today coming from Otter. We already know that. Go back and watch the FGTN show from 2 days ago on the channel if you want to see the other things that we know of are coming, but we just don't have pictures for yet. So let's click on the resort here. Let's open it up. We can see the outside looks a little bit different, right? Let me pull up the other one again and show you so we can kind of flip. So this is the XS and this is the XTR. So you see this one, the one that we were just looking at, has more of that gray on the outside. Well, the one that we're talking about now, which is the Pro XS, has the blue on the outside. And then of course the naming patch on it as well. So this is the Pro XS Resort. It's looking pretty similar on the outside of it in terms of the windows are the same, where you've got a big one in the front. I shouldn't say big, but you've got one in the front. You've got the triangles on the sides. You've got your Velcro that will open up here, and then you've got your vent up top. So pretty similar wise there. Let's read what they say down here. The Otter Pro XS Xover was constructed to be the most durable, warm, and versatile shelter on the market. Pro XS shelters outclass the competition in all fours. This is a big thing Otter goes after, is the four S's. All four S's: sled, seating, structure, and shell. It has front, side, and rear access doors. So now we're introducing rear access door. It includes easy frame release lever kit. Again, push buttons to extend your bars. Patented quick switch frame, which is the crossover system, so you can access those side doors easily. And cross-link seating system for swivel seats, which is essentially the bar that goes under where your seats are. So that way you can slide your seats around or take them in and out. So that's what they're talking about here. I think if I'm going to go look just really quickly. Yeah, so they did not make the claim on the other one, the XTR, that they are the most durable, warm, and versatile shelter on the market. So that would lead me to believe that potentially these ones have a little bit more insulation in them. So let's take a look here. Outside, nothing too fancy there. Inside, what we're looking at is bucket seats. So these are the swivel bucket seats. It doesn't look different than the way that the current ones are designed. From what I can tell right now, you have that same cross-link bar that goes across there, which opens up your tub, because these seats can come right off. If you lift the seat up, it'll pull right off that bar. So you could, if you're going to go out just one person for the day, you can cut weight by pulling a whole seat out and being able to access the bench next to you, and they can slide anywhere. You could slide this all the way over to the side, as you can see, because it just has to slide on this bar. Of course, you can't, be on top of each other. And then it can go all the way to the side where it's bumping into the side. You can move them kind of around. In the resort version, I find it interesting that there's only 2 seats. I would have thought they would have a three seats in it. Maybe the third seat is optional. To me, looking at this actually looks like the lodge based off of the spacing. So maybe they've just got the wrong photo with it right now, but this looks a little tight to me to be a resort. So I'm going to just go ahead and assume this is a lodge, because typically you can have 3 seats in the lodge, which this one you would be able to. Push this one over, push this one over. You should be able to fit one in the middle. That would be where I'm thinking this is the lodge. The resort, you can have 3 seats in and still have some nice decent space between the different people. So, I think this is the lodge style. You've got that nice big gray tub in it. We can't really see anything else from this photo. We've got the splitter bar in the back, the spreader bar in the back for wind. We can see we've got a front door here, side door, side door. I can't see in the back where the back door is, which I would have thought would be right here in the back. But, I guess more to come on that, and then we can see the seats. They don't look like they have upgraded padding in them. I could be wrong, but just by looking at the picture, they look very similar, if not the same, just with the blue on them now. So I don't know what's different in this versus the X over Pro that they have today. I'm not 100% sure. So I'll for sure be putting a video out and letting you know what the difference is. So if you want to see the other Otter gear as it comes out, I'll make sure that you're all aware because we know there's more coming. Subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for that. And then, of course, all the other videos. I'm in ice gear mode now. It's freaking August. This is crazy. And we know we've got a lot of other new products from other brands coming in the coming weeks as well. So stay tuned for that. Let's click on the lodge and see if maybe we get some more photos. Whoo-hoo, we do. All right. So now, isn't this interesting? So look at all the space in the lodge. Now, this looks like the resort to me. I think they screwed up where they had the photos. So this looks like the resort because you can move this seat over a little, this seat over a little, throw a middle seat in, and you still have space. And is that front? This is the front door just because of the way that it's flipped over. So we still can't see the back door. We still have the same skirt on it, same overlap. So I don't see anything too crazy different from what we have this year. Here's another view. That's still the front door. Again, this looks like the resort, even though it's under the lodge. But it looks nice. I mean, I'm not complaining, right? They do a really nice job with their shelters. Okay, let's look at the cabin and see if there's anything there. Yeah, and then this looks really tight again too. Maybe this is the cabin and it's not even the lodge. Hard to tell, but I think everything that I've said is accurate. I don't believe the size of the resort lodge cabin in cottage if they which it doesn't look like they even have a cottage in this version. Um, it looks like they're very similar and they should be the same sizes as what the existing sized units are, which would make sense because the you wouldn't think they'd wanna redo all the tubs and all of that. So, price point here, what we have is the resort at 1650, lodge at 1350, and cabin at 1250. Again, these are full MSRP. These are not sale prices. We looked at I was a Big Country Sports, which is out of California, a couple days ago. They had lower prices than this. I don't know if that was a glitch. They also said they didn't have any in stock, so maybe those prices will go up and we got a sneak peek. So go check out that video if you want to see maybe where prices can go to. I thought that was pretty interesting. I still don't understand what's different about this other than the colorway versus the ones that they've had before for the Pro. I also think that if the if this has better insulation in it, better denier fabric, better, whatever in it, I really wish they would have as we flip back to this resort sleeper. I really wish they would have put that same amount of insulation in this guy, seeing as people will be sleeping in it. My opinion is the only difference between this and that should ideally be that this one has the reclining bench and the other has the bucket seats. But and maybe that is the only difference as well as the color. But the price point has me thinking differently because this seems like a pretty sick package for 15.99. And the fact that as we flip over here, it's $50 more. Maybe that is the only difference, but it does feel weird that this is the Pro XS. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. All right, last thing that we're going to talk about here today in terms of things that we have pictures for is super not exciting, but is the Otter HDX Hyfax kit. These are the new Hyfax kits that they have out. We've got price points as you can see here for all of the different ones. So all the new small ultra wide sled, the XTR cottage, the resort, the lodge, the cabin, small ultra wide pro sled, as well in here. I'm imagining this is maybe for that sonar sled. I could be wrong. I hope they have a Hyfax kit for the sonar sled. But yeah, extremely tough, wear resistant. It's 5/8 inch thick. That's one of the things a lot of people look for is how thick is it? And it is UHMW HDX Hyfax. And you can see it looks like it is white or a light gray. So that's what they got here. You can see the price points. Those are all of the things from Otter that as of right now, we have pictures for. There will be more coming. As I get more, we'll maybe hop on another live if it's part of the FGTN show. We do that every Tuesday, so tune in for that. Lots more videos coming out on the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, use the links down below if you want to see where I found these things from. And as I get more information, I'll have it linked down below for best prices, availability, and whatnot. Let's go through questions really quick because I said that I would. I almost forgot. Very smart design by Otter. What's up, Finn and Tonic from Indiana? I'm always excited for new ice gear. Me too. Live from Des Moines. Nice to see you here, Richard. Not seeing rod holders. Oh, you saw them now. Okay, yeah, on the side, 4 of them. Well, and the cool thing with this guy too, right, is you could put more rod holders in here. You could put one of their 4-piece rod holders rack on there. So if you wanted to bring 8, right, and you could throw another one on this side, so you could have a 4-pack, and then 4 inside of it. Like, the options are pretty much limitless, which I think is pretty cool. Early ice will be great. This will be amazing for early ice. And if you're doing like some of those tournaments where like Ducks Unlimited or something like that, where you're just walking around and you can't actually use a machine because you're in like a specific area, these could be good for that. Do I ever sleep? How do you sleep when there's stuff like this to talk about? You know what I mean? Uh, Bobby, I love it. This is sick. I may have to get this one. It's awesome, but they should have had a built-in auger holder. That's not a bad idea. I wonder, I'm sure somebody will rig something up. We don't have a really good picture of the back of the unit, but I'm imagining the back of this is flat. So you should be able to right back here, you should be able to throw some sort of a mount off of it. It's gonna hang, so maybe there's a way on the top to put like a bracket up here that's tall enough. That's a really good idea. That's a great call out around the auger. That's a great call out. I overlooked that. So hopefully somebody comes up with a great idea. Drop down in the comments if you have a great idea, and maybe I'll do it because I'm gonna buy one of these. Maybe I'll do it, and we'll have some fun going back and forth, all of us sharing photos and stuff on how we have these things rigged up. Yeah, how would you strap that down? How much stuff do people need? I'd use this early ice only. It's not worth the real estate in my garage. Matt, dude, some of us like me are pretty crazy. We want and need to have all of it just to have the option. I am like you. I would probably only use this early ice and late ice, but actually, I no. Like if I'm out with buddies and I know we're going to stay in one area all day and I'm going to hop around, I'd probably bring this. And here's the reason why. This is going to be a lot quieter to move around on the ice, in my opinion, than an ATV or a machine. If you're going 100, 200 yards between spots, if you have a live imaging unit, those things are 20, 30 pounds. And that's not an exaggeration. I think mine's like 32 pounds with everything I got on it. That gets heavy lugging around, and being able to have it here versus just all thrown in a jet sled and having some organization to it, I think is pretty awesome. Because jet sleds, at least for the Otter ones that are the really heavy duty durable rotomolded, they're not much cheaper than this 199 price point. You can get the small ones for like $100. And of course you can get like the actual jet sleds and some of the knockoffs for much cheaper than that, 30, 50, 60, $70. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about it. The cushion wears quickly with the bench on an Otter. Yeah, hopefully they come out with a cushion topper or I mean, I have kayak cushions that I would put on my seat in my kayak, and I'd probably throw one of those on there because it's like the most comfortable thing ever, and it just sits on there. So I'm sure a lot of people will just do something like that, or Hopefully Otter comes out with like an upgraded cushion or an upgraded bench. I think that's the next thing they need to come out with. Yeah, I've heard that about those benches. Pretty cool. The resort is massive. It's a three-seater originally. Yeah, so as we flip back over to that, the resort, this is the XS resort. Oh, now the photo's coming up, right? Interesting. Now the photo's coming up right. They must be updating as we're live here. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so three-seater right here for the resort. Remember before it didn't, this is not what they showed for the resort. Franks will ship. Yeah, so yes, uh, I agree. They will ship, but look at this. This looks like they will ship it. This looks like they will ship it. But look at this one. It says right here, in-store exclusive. I don't know. I guess I'll try and see if I can, do it when we get done here, because 'cause I'll buy it right now today, if they will ship it to me. Because I think they're out of Michigan, right? Yeah, Linwood, Michigan, so, yeah, more to come on that. I'll keep you posted. I can't wait for hard water with flip over shack. I also got rid of the ice house to go portable again. Dude, man, I hear you. Yep, flip over shack is gonna be my number one this year. I'll do some hub houses this year, maybe do some rentals, some resorts, that type of thing, but I'm not rocking a hard-sided shack, a wheelhouse this year. Gotta go portable, dude. I think the other is luxurious and nice, and for those times when you want to just hang out, they're great, but dude, you can't beat if you wanna catch fish and experience ice fishing, you can't beat a portable. Morning from Vermont, Bruce, nice. Michael Gates, that's definitely a mix in the photos. Good morning. What's up, Don? Nobody likes putting Hyfax kits on. Why don't manufacturers just add it? I think they do it because of a couple reasons. One, I think they wanna keep the cost down. 2, and not just the cost of the kit itself, that would raise the price, obviously, 70 to 100 plus dollars just from the Hyfax in the hardware for it, but the other reason is the labor, because a lot of this stuff somebody's gotta put together, and we all know how much of a pain Hyfax is to put on, and so then you're talking add $200 to the cost of these things, maybe $300, and so it's like, no. And some people, if you're pulling by hand, honestly, if you're pulling by hand and you're not going to be pulling it on the blacktop or something like that, you're going to like put it on the ice or the snow and just pull it around by hand. You really don't need Hyfax, to be honest with you. You're going to want Hyfax if you're going to be pulling it up on pavement, in a parking lot, up a boat ramp. But if you don't do that and you back your truck or your van or your car or your trailer down to the ice, uh, or are lifting it up, you really don't need Hyfax. If you're pulling it with an ATV, a side by side, a snowmobile, a snow dog, you should have Hyfax. So I think Hyfax isn't necessary for everybody. And then the cost, I think, is the other component of it. But I agree, it'd be nice if they had an option. But then I think it gets to like they have so many SKUs, right? They have all of these SKUs, and then they have twice as many of the ones that have Hyfax on it. So there are some places that will actually install Hyfax for you. You can just pay them to do it. Main 44 this morning. It is currently 59 where I am here in Minnesota. So I'm excited for you. Bring on the ice. It sounds like you're going to beat us to some ice. Otter should have come out with a Smitty sled instead of a sonar sled. I have talked to I've talked to a few brands about those. I bet you next year we're gonna see a Smitty sled. Maybe somebody comes out with one this year, but I bet you next year somebody comes out with it. There's also some like weird patent things with the Smitty sled as well, which is kind of interesting. Maybe we do a video just on that in the concept around it, but there's some detail there that I've recently found out that I think is kind of challenging. For Iowa, the sled is the ticket. Lots of thin ice. That is exactly It's exactly right, right? Like this is the replacement of um, that other one that they had. Now I'm blanking on the name of it because I said jet sled too many times. You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. For if you're walking, this thing is the ticket. What's the price? Price on the sonar sleds, 199. I know it's probably small to see. We've also got prices here on the XTR. And then we've got, oh, I didn't share the tab. And then we've got prices here on the Pro XS. And then Hyfax, we got prices here too. So there you go. I hate pulling my scope out of the jet sled every move. Totally. That's why I think it would be great. You can just throw your scope in there in that pocket right here, have your pole there, get to your spot, pull the pole out, drop it in, put it back in, move to the next spot. This is going to be awesome. They look pretty short in cot mode. They kind of do, don't they? It's only the resort size that has the cot mode. Let me pull it back up here. I gotta get to it. They do look a little short, but if you think about it, this is probably a foot, I think. This is probably a foot. This looks like maybe a foot and a half. So you've got 3.5 feet. And then this looks a little bit longer, maybe three, let's call it 3.5 feet. You're talking 7 feet just based off of my rough guesstimate there. Not many people are 7 feet. So I think it's deceiving because this I do believe is a foot. The bottom of that bench, somebody can tell me, because I think this is the same dimensions as the normal flip over bench. The back might be a little bit shorter, but then you've got a pretty tall head here and then this cot. So it looks short in the photos, but I think it's at least 6 feet tall would be my guess. So good observation. Strike Master Glide Light. Yeah, that's what I had in mind. So this is replacing that because that has been discontinued. Of course, completely different brands. This looks way better than that. Glide Light. Yep. Resort tub is huge. It is. I'm honestly thinking of going that way because I'd always pull that with a machine. And I've got a one man for when I want to be a little bit more portable. But I think I'm like talking myself into it, but I think for like overnight camping, that's the way to go. The only thing that I wish, like here is what I wish was a possibility. I wish what they would have done or would allow is the ability to have this setup, but actually have it so you could pull out half of the bench if you wanted to and put a seat in. Now, I don't think that's possible. Maybe it is. I don't think it's possible, but how cool would it be if we look at this resort? Share the tab. If we look at this puppy, if you were able to take one of these seats and put it here, because if you're single or solo mission, it doesn't really matter. Like if you're gonna do day trips, maybe you don't want the bench, you can go ahead and pop the seats in, pop a couple seats in. If you're gonna go and use it for a sleeper, then go ahead and throw the bench in. And if you're gonna go solo, which I fish solo a lot, I know a lot of people that do, and you want to use it as a sleeper, have one side is the bench with your middle cup holder thing here, and one side with your seat. So during the day, you get the comfort, because let's not lie, these are way more comfortable. You get the comfort of the swivel seat, but then at night, you get the flexibility to have this bench and be able to do that. I wish that was possible. I do not know if it is. The one thing that I think looks a little bit promising is the way that this is set up. It almost looks like there is a crossbar behind it. I don't think we can tell by looking at this, and I could be wrong. Maybe there's a way to jimmy rig it. And so what they typically do is they will sell these seats extra separately. I think they're like $150. Like they make some money off them for sure. But if there's a way to be able to buy this, I guess you could get a boat seat, but I'd love to just have something like this and rig it up so that it fits on one of these or something, or you can flip it up. That would be cool. I don't know. That is just the one thing that I wish. So that way you could truly have the best of both worlds. I don't get it. It's 200 for a little sonar sled, but I can buy a big Otter sled for the same price or less and then add more stuff. You totally could. I think the reason why people would buy this one for $200 is because they like the magnetic closing lid that keeps it, weather tight. They can put things in there that they don't want wet in case it's snowing, sleeting, that type of thing, snow go rolling up into it. You've got built-in cup holders, so you already have a lot of those cavities pre-built out for you. It's pretty nice. In this, like, I don't know. That's why they offer both options. I think it's a good push, and I know a lot of people that love to modify out just their own sled and make it their own. This is all roto molded, so you don't need to worry about rusted bolts and screws if you don't use the right stuff, wood in there, the extra weight of that. This is pretty light because it is all roto molded plastic. So you've got that durability to go along with it, as well as some of these nice little pockets that are a little bit harder to do yourself unless you're handy and really want to dig into it. So I think both are great. All have both. So I think that's totally okay. You really need to have a big bed or trailer for the resort. That's the biggest downside of that hut. Yeah, I'm planning on getting an enclosed trailer this year, so I can just pull the ATV on and have that behind it. But yeah, if you have an 8-foot bed, I'm pretty sure the resort will fit in it. But then again, like your machine that you probably are going to want to use, you'll need on a trailer. A lot of people use snowmobile trailers, right? So they'll have a machine on one side and they'll put the resort on the other side of it. There's lots of ways to do it, but that is a good call out. They are heavy. I imagine that thing weighs a couple 100 pounds, especially when you load it up with your camping gear. I ended up building a Brandon box on a resort like Joe's setup. Nice. It's awesome for getting the family out. Oh, totally. Brandon box on a resort. That's awesome, dude. That's sick. I'll have to see some pictures of it as we get into the season. Okay, cool. I got to get running. I know all of you probably do as well. Go check this stuff out. Stay tuned. If you guys see leaks of anything else, drop it. DM me, IM me, comment, email me, whatever works. I'd love to be able to keep sharing more and more stuff like this with you. I actually had somebody ping me about this, so thank you to that viewer. I've got the best guys and gals watching this stuff that are always pinging me. Hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Keep it coming and we can share with everybody. So thank you all. Have a great, wonderful day. And we got videos coming out very, very soon. So take it easy, tight lines. Have a good one.